Hello and welcome back to Coach Craig Sports. Today is Tuesday, February 23rd, and we're going to be talking some NBA DFS picks on both DraftKings and FanDuel today. But before we get started, we're going to talk about yesterday's picks, kind of talk about how they turned out and why they turned out the way that they did. So first off, we got John Wall on the DraftKings side, $8,000, looking for about 40 fantasy points out of him. Got 28.75, that was definitely a miss there. This is probably the best game the Bulls have played in quite some time. John Wall wasn't very good overall either. Then on the opposite side of that game, we had Garrett Temple, $4,800, looking for 24 fantasy points out of him. He's been a guy that's consistently got 20 to 25, a little bit upside for more in recent weeks, playing them 30 minutes per game. Only got 21 here, so he's a mess, but he's probably a guy that didn't kill you overall. Then we had Sterling Brown at small forward, $4,100, looking for about 21 fantasy points out of him. He got to 25.5, so that was definitely a hit there. Then at that power forward position, we had Royce O'Neal. He's one of them guys I really like to play when his price goes down because he gets the minutes, and he definitely has some upside. But $4,500, looking for 23 fantasy points out of him, got 26.5, even before that blowout run at the end of the game where he didn't play. So he was definitely a hit. And then the same's true for Rudy Gobert, $7,400, looking for 37 fantasy points out of him. He got to 38, so he was a hit as well. So overall, a decent day on the DraftKings side, minus that John Wall miss. Then on the FanDuel side, we had John Wall over there as well, $8,500, definitely a miss there, 27.1 points is what he got. Eric Gordon, $5,300, 20.6 points out of him. He was a miss. He started out the game very, very cold. Thought they'd get a little bit more out of him, but didn't quite happen yesterday. LeBron James, he was $10,400, looking for about 52 fantasy points out of him. He was just over that before the overtime. After the overtime, he got to 56.3, so he was a hit. Isaiah Roby starting at center yesterday. Thought we could get to 25 points out of him. Only got to 20.5, so he was a miss. Then Enes Kanter looking for 35 fantasy points out of him. He got to 30, so he was a miss. But those two guys, they probably didn't kill you overall, but there were some better options out there as well. Yesterday was kind of a weird day overall in terms of the guys that did really well. Your Kendrick Nunns, your Kobe Whites, David Nwaba once again. It was a very interesting day overall. But with that being said, we're going to get into today's injuries that we're looking at. So we're going to start off with the Atlanta Hawks. Cam Reddish, game time decision, likely to play. Rajon Rondo, game time decision, kind of up in the air whether or not he plays. Shouldn't change too much overall, though. On the Cavaliers side, we got Taurean Prince, game time decision, unlikely to play once again. Otherwise, we're exactly the same. For the Detroit Pistons, we're exactly the same once again. The only thing we're really looking at here is if Dennis Smith Jr. starts once again, or maybe they start Saben Lee this time since he played more minutes in the last game. And Dennis Smith Jr., he was pretty bad overall. Then for the Atlanta Magic, looking the same as it's been. Kind of interesting here that they got Birch in the starting lineup right now. Al-Farouq Aminu did start last time, so it'll be interesting to see who starts at that forward spot for them. Then for the Boston Celtics, exactly the same as they've been. Should be a pretty good day for them overall, I think. For the Mavericks, we're looking for two things here. Kristaps Porzingis had that back injury yesterday, didn't play. Will he end up playing today or not? They might want to rest him, have a couple extra rest days. Maxi Kleber left the game last night with an injury. Game time decision today. I don't think he ends up playing. We'll see if Porzingis plays. If not, you could be looking at a case where you see Willie Cauley-Stein or Dwight Powell in the starting lineup. Dwight Powell was in the starting lineup yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if Dorian Finney-Smith slides over to the 4. And if they start Tim Hardaway Jr. or Jalen Brunson, if both these guys are out. And then for the Sacramento Kings, the only thing we're really looking at is that Harrison Barnes injury. If he doesn't play, who ends up in the starting lineup? Dalton Jeffries started the last game, and he played 40 minutes somehow. I don't know how that happened. I don't think it's going to happen again. But if he's in the starting lineup, if he gets 30 minutes, he could be a value on DraftKings. Then for Brooklyn, we're looking at Tyler Johnson, who missed the last game. Mon Shumpert hasn't played yet, so not too worried about him. Jeff Green's probably the biggest one here. Game time decision, we'll see if he plays or not. If he doesn't play, DeAndre Jordan should see a slight bump up. Maybe we even see a little bit more of Noah Vonleh, but we'll just have to see if that ends up happening or not. Then obviously TLC we're kind of looking at once again, but he did play the last time out, so I don't think he's going to be a major one. Kevin Durant's still out, so pretty much the same as we've been looking at, minus Jeff Green. Then for Golden State, they get some interesting news here. Kevon Looney and Wiseman, they both supposedly kind of practiced yesterday. They're going to see how they feel today, see if they go out and play. If one or both these guys are back, it's going to make a major change to their rotation overall. Steph Curry ended up missing the game, light scratch with a little bit of a sickness. I think he plays today, but just keep an eye out on that one as well. For the Knicks, they do have Austin Rivers down as a game-time decision. Shouldn't impact them too much overall, though. Then Steph Curry is listed as game-time decision, likely to play. Not taking too much stock into that one. Kyle Lowry, game-time decision once again. We'll see if he ends up playing. I believe yesterday on the injury report they listed him as questionable for today, so we'll see if that changes at all throughout today. Minnesota's exactly the same. The Bucks are exactly the same. Trailblazers, Harry Giles is a game-time decision now, so that's good to see. Could cut into Canner's minutes just a little bit. Could cut into Robert Covington's minutes just a little bit too, since he was playing some of that backup five. But otherwise, not too worried about them guys overall. And then for the Nuggets, they're exactly the same as the last time injuries-wise. Zeke Naji is somebody to consider if he ends up starting, especially on Draft Kings. I think Will Barton probably starts over Monty Morris, but I could be wrong there. And then we get over to the Wizards and the Clippers. So hopefully we get news early on in the day if Russell Westbrook's going to play on this back-to-back. He did play on the last back-to-back, but other than that, he really hasn't this year, so it'll be real interesting. If he doesn't play, Raul Neto's definitely going to be in play once again. Bradley Beal gets a bump up, and, we just kind of go from there. Ish Smith's still out. Then for the Clippers, they're pretty much all the way healthy. Oturu has been out for a while, so not too concerned about him. But with that being said, that's pretty much the quick recap of the injuries for today, so we'll get over to DraftKings. Talk about the picks that I like over there. At the point guard position, we got De'Aaron Fox. He is $8,000, looking for 40 fantasy points out of him. Definitely has pretty good upside tonight going against that Brooklyn defense that's nothing special at all. So I think he definitely has a chance to have a big boom night. And if this game ends up in a shootout, I think it's going to be a good game to stack overall. So on the opposite side of that game, like I just said, stacking that game, Kyrie Irving. $8,800, looking for about 44 fantasy points out of him. Definitely gives you upside for more. The Kings defense isn't special either, so this should be the highest scoring game on the slate. And then at small forward, we got Josh Richardson, $4,700, looking for 23, 24 fantasy points out of him. Definitely has the upside for there, definitely playing the minutes. There wasn't a lot of value at small forward at this point in the day, so he's just somebody that I picked that I like so far today. Once again, as that news comes out, it's probably going to change throughout the day. Then at power forward, we got Zeke Naji. If he plays over 30 minutes again, if he plays even 26 minutes again, $3,100, you only need him to get 16 fantasy points. At this point in time, during the day, he's probably the best value play that's out there. Maybe Saban Lee as well if he ends up starting. Then at center, I got Tristan Thompson. I think this is a pretty favorable matchup for him. If there's no Maxi Kleber, if there's no Kristaps Porzingis, you got Dwight Powell, Willie Cauley-Stein, but I think Tristan Thompson has a little bit of a leg up on those guys overall. He's $4,400, looking for 22 fantasy points out of him. Gives you a little bit of upside, been playing pretty well lately. Been playing his minutes once again, now that him and Daniel Tice are both back in that starting lineup. So I think he's definitely a guy you can go to and not feel bad about at all. But if you go with these five guys that I got listed here, you'll have $21,000 remaining, $7,000 per player. So definitely some room to spend up for a top-tier player. And there's a lot of them on this slate. We got Joel Embiid, James Harden, Damian Lillard, Nikola Vucevic, Nikola Jokic, Giannis, Luka. There is a ton of options out there today. So just kind of pick your spots, get exposure to some of these top-tier guys because you're going to need it on a day like today. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to the FanDuel side. And over on FanDuel, at point guard, I have Darius Garland. Last time he played, he was my DraftKings pick. He's a guy that I do like a lot, playing big minutes. $5,900, looking for 29, 30 fantasy points out of him. He definitely showed us that upside the last game, averaging 28 points per game on the year. I think he's definitely a good value at this price tag. Then at shooting guard, we got Josh Jackson. $5,100, so his price actually went down. He played pretty good well last time, so I don't know exactly why his price went down. He's probably going to have a little bit more usage, without DeLon Wright in the lineup, kind of like the last game. So I think he's definitely a guy that gets you to that 26 points or more that you need on a day like today. Then at small forward, we got Evan Fournier. $6,800. You're looking for 34 fantasy points out of him today, playing a major role in that offense for the Orlando Magic. So until he shows us otherwise, I think he's a guy that's really hard to fade or until his price tag gets too high. And I don't think we're at that point yet, so we're going to keep on playing him. Then at power forward, we got another Boston Celtic, and it's Daniel Tice this time. $4,900, looking for 24, 25 fantasy points out of him. I think he definitely gets to your 25 there. Kind of like what I said with Tristan Thompson. Him and Tristan Thompson playing alongside each other recently once again. That definitely helps both these guys out. I think he's a little bit underpriced at this point in time. Probably should be closer to, $5,200, $5,400. Then at that center position, we got Jared Allen and no Andre Drummond for the foreseeable future. Probably not on the Cavs ever again, but that's a whole other story. But Jared Allen, he's been playing big minutes. He's been playing very well. I know he does go against Clint Capella in this matchup, so it's not the best matchup in the world, but he's still a guy that's been playing very well. Good fantasy point per minute producer. We're looking for about 38 fantasy points out of him. Big game the last time. I know you don't want to be chasing points, but in this case, I think he's a guy that's still undervalued. And at that center position, on a day like today, you could spend way up for some of the top guys, but if you want to spend down in that mid-range price, Jared Allen's probably the guy for you today. But if you go with these 5 guys that I have listed here, you'll have $29,700 left over, just over $7,400 per player. So definitely some guys that you can spend up for. Like I said on the DraftKings side, there's a ton of guys that are worth spending up for today. Just kind of pick your spots. But with that being said, these are my picks for both FanDuel and DraftKings for today, February 23rd. And with that being said, I will be posting all the news as it comes out throughout the day. I'll be posting all the starting lineups as they come out as well tonight. But with that being said, if you guys are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I greatly appreciate it. It really helps build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, and that's really one for you, the viewers, helping you guys with your DFS, whether it's NBA or NFL, helping you guys with your fantasy football, talking all the football news this offseason as it comes out, and then as we move forward into baseball season, going to be talking some fantasy baseball and some baseball news as well. But with that being said, if you are a new or current subscriber who has not already done so, hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time that I post up a new video. And with that being said, I'm going to be posting up NBA DFS videos every single day. And then hopefully later today, I'll have some of them NFC bold predictions coming out as well. But with that being said, that's all I got for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed. Hopefully you guys all do very well in NBA DFS. Hopefully it's a little bit more straightforward night than last night. But if you guys have any questions at all regarding NBA DFS for today or any other slate, feel free to contact me. Definitely here to help you guys out. And with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It really means a lot to me, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.